6 signs Allah is testing your faith and what it really means. This is not random. You're being tested for a reason. This storm you're in? It's not random. It's a divine conversation between your soul and the one who created it. You've been trying. You really have. But no one sees the silent battles, the weight you carry in your chest, the nights you cry without a sound, the prayers that feel empty, yet you still whisper them anyway. And maybe you've started to wonder, is this a punishment? Did I do something wrong? But here's the truth. This pain, this heaviness, this silence, it's not here to break you. It's here to build you. Because when Allah loves you, He tests you, not to destroy your faith, but to reveal it, to pull out the strength you didn't know you had, to prepare you for something greater than you imagined. And the test? It doesn't always come with warnings. It comes through unanswered du'as, through loss, through spiritual numbness. But every part of it, every ache, every delay, every lonely moment is proof Allah is still writing your story. So if you're hurting right now, lean in. Because what you're going through isn't proof that He's distant. It's a sign He's close enough to shape you with His own hands. Let's uncover the 6 signs that Allah is testing your faith and what those signs actually mean for your soul. Sign 1. When your du'as go unanswered for now. You've made the same dua so many times, you've lost count. Some nights you cry when no one's watching. Other times you whisper the same words in sujood, hoping this time, maybe this time, something changes. But the door stays closed. And in that silence, your heart starts to ache. Doubts creep in. You wonder, has Allah forgotten me? Am I not worthy of His help? But here's the truth. Allah never forgets. He hears every word, every whisper, every tear that falls before your lips even move. The silence you feel, it's not rejection, it's preparation. Sometimes the thing you're asking for is good, but your heart isn't ready to carry it yet. And sometimes the delay isn't about what you asked for, it's about what Allah wants to grow inside you first. He's teaching you patience, real patience, the kind that lives in your chest when there's no sign, no shortcut, no answer in sight. And you still say, Ya Rab, I trust you. Think about it. If Allah gave you everything the moment you asked, would you learn to surrender? Would you grow stronger? Would you build a connection with Him beyond the outcome? Unanswered du'as are not the end of your story. Sometimes they are the beginning of something greater, something better than what you even imagined. So don't stop asking, don't stop believing, because maybe it's not that your dua has been ignored. Maybe it's being stored, protected and delivered at the exact moment it will matter most. Allah is never late. He's only wise. And faith? Real faith is not proven in the moment of receiving. It's proven in the moments you keep believing, even when nothing has arrived yet. Sign 2. When you lose something you loved. You had something or someone you deeply loved. Maybe it was a relationship you believed would last forever. Maybe it was a job you worked hard for, a dream you built in your mind, a version of life that felt safe and right. And then, suddenly, it was gone. No warning, no explanation that made sense, just emptiness. And you're left standing in the middle of the wreckage wondering, why would Allah take this from me? But what feels like a loss might actually be a mercy in disguise, because Allah doesn't just take, He redirects. He removes what you thought you needed to make room for what you actually need. And sometimes, the only way He can get your heart to turn toward Him is by removing the thing it was clinging to too tightly. Loss is painful, yes, but it's also a reminder that nothing in this world is truly ours, not people, not plans, not the future we imagined. They are gifts, temporary, fragile, borrowed. And when Allah takes something back, He's not abandoning you. He's drawing you closer. He's saying, "This was not your forever. I am." Sometimes we fight to keep things that would have broken us. Sometimes we beg for things that would have blocked us. And when those things are taken, we feel broken, not realizing we've just been set free. So if something slipped away from you, let it go, because what's written for you will never leave you, and what's not meant for you will never stay, no matter how tightly you hold on. Allah sees what you can't. He protects you from what you don't understand, and what He removes is never greater than what He plans to give. Your loss isn't proof that Allah has forgotten you. It's proof that He's guiding you, sometimes through pain, but always towards something better. Sign 3. When you feel spiritually disconnected. There are moments in your life where your soul feels quiet, not in a peaceful way, but in a numb way. You sit down for salah, and your body does what it's supposed to, but your heart doesn't follow. You bow, you recite, you raise your hands for dua, but deep inside, it feels like something is missing. Something that used to be there before. A softness, a sweetness, that feeling of closeness to Allah. That warmth you once felt in sujud or while listening to Quran, it's gone, and it scares you. You start questioning yourself. Why don't I feel anything anymore? Did I do something wrong? Is my faith broken? But here's the truth. This phase is not the end of your faith. It's actually a part of it. It's not failure. It's not a sign that you're slipping away. It's a sign that you're being tested, not on how much you know or how emotionally connected you feel, but on something far more powerful, your ability to keep going when it's hard. You see, faith isn't always fire and passion. It's not always tears in prayer or goosebumps during recitation. Sometimes faith is dry, silent, heavy, and in those moments, what matters most is that you don't walk away. Allah already knows how you feel. He already knows how distant you feel inside. But the fact that you keep coming back, that you still stand up for salah even when your heart feels asleep, that you still whisper His name even when you feel like no one's listening, that right there, that is the definition of real, mature, sincere faith. Because it's easy to worship when your heart is full, but it's true submission when you worship even when your heart is tired. That's what it means to be loyal to your Lord, not just in times of ease and emotion, but also in times of silence and struggle. And this silence you're experiencing, it has a purpose. This emotional dryness, this feeling of being spiritually disconnected, it's not a wall, it's a refinement process. It's a season where Allah is training your soul to love Him, even when you don't feel Him. Just like seeds grow underground in darkness, far from sight, your Iman is growing now, quietly, invisibly, but deeply. This part of the journey doesn't come with signs or emotional highs. It comes with internal stretching, with you showing up even when it's hard, with you praying not for the feeling, but out of obedience. And in that space, something powerful is happening. Your soul is being purified from dependency on feelings. It's being shaped to rely on truth, not just emotion. It's being trained to love Allah, not only for the sweetness, but also through the silence. And the beautiful thing is, this phase won't last forever. The light will return, the connection will deepen again. But when it does, it will be stronger than before, because it was built in the dark, because it was built on patience, on trust, on discipline. So don't panic in this moment. Don't assume you've drifted too far, because sometimes Allah pulls you into this silence so you can learn to walk by faith, not just feeling. You're not failing. You're not far. You're just growing deeper than you've ever grown before. And when your heart finally feels soft again, you'll look back at this season and realize, this was the soil where my roots were strengthened. So hold on, stay consistent, keep showing up, because Allah never forgets the worship done in silence, and He never wastes a heart that chooses Him, even when it can't feel Him. Sign 4. When you keep facing the same struggle. You told yourself this time would be different. You had more knowledge, more experience, more self-awareness. You thought you had healed from it, the heartbreak, the bad habit, the fear, the insecurity, the anger. You thought you had finally let it go, finally grown out of it. But then it happened again. Same situation, same emotion, same reaction. And now you're staring at yourself, disappointed, confused, and tired. You're asking, why does this keep happening to me? Haven't I learned this lesson already? But maybe it's not that you haven't learned. Maybe it's that Allah is refining something even deeper, something that can't be fixed in one moment of awareness, but through repeated soul-level exposure. See, when Allah allows you to go through the same test over and over again, it's not because He's angry with you. It's not because you're a failure. It's because He loves you too much to leave a wound unhealed, a weakness untouched, or a lesson half learned. Just like the ocean smooths rough rocks by crashing wave after wave, Allah polishes your heart with repeated experiences until your ego softens, until your trust deepens, until your heart begins to choose differently. You might feel stuck, but in reality, you're being reshaped. Every time you face the same pain, it's not just happening again. It's digging deeper, exposing what you still need to confront. Maybe your impatience, your pride, your fear of being alone, your need for approval, your lack of surrender. Allah is trying to show you something about yourself, something you've buried under excuses, distractions, or temporary fixes. And He keeps bringing you back, not to break you down, but to build something stronger inside you. He wants you to grow past the surface level, to respond with more calm this time, with more reliance on Him, with less fear and more faith. And it's okay to feel exhausted. It's okay to feel frustrated. But don't confuse repetition with failure. Repetition is mercy. It means Allah hasn't given up on you. It means the lesson still matters. It means there's still something valuable in this moment, even if it feels like déjà vu. Every time the struggle returns, ask yourself, what part of me is still holding on to something Allah is trying to release? What am I still clinging to that He's trying to replace with something better? What reaction is He trying to change? Am I responding differently this time? Because your growth isn't measured by how many times you fall, it's measured by how you rise each time, what you learn, what you surrender, how much softer your heart becomes, how much more you trust Him when the storm returns. When you keep facing the same test, it's not a curse, it's a custom-made training ground. It's Allah preparing you for something you've been asking for, but aren't quite ready to carry yet. He's building your patience. He's teaching you emotional control. He's strengthening your discipline. He's planting tawakkul, full, deep, unwavering trust. And when you finally respond from that place of wisdom and surrender, the cycle breaks. Not because you forced it, but because you passed it, because you let Allah reshape you from the inside out. So if you're tired of the same pain, don't give up. Lean in, reflect, ask Him to show you what He's refining, and trust that when you come out on the other side of this, you won't just be healed, you'll be transformed. Sign 5. When you're surrounded by temptation. You used to be so sure. There were things you didn't question, lines you knew not to cross. You felt a clear sense of right and wrong in your heart, like a compass that always pointed back to Allah. But now, it's not so clear. What once made you uncomfortable now feels ordinary. What once felt wrong now feels tempting. The boundaries you used to guard, they're getting harder to hold. You're still trying, but you feel pulled. Pulled by your desires, pulled by the world around you, pulled by your past. And it's quiet. It's not loud or obvious. It's slow, subtle, and it's real. You feel weak. You feel guilty. And deep down you wonder, what's happening to me? Why am I slipping? But let me tell you something that might surprise you. This moment is not failure. It's exposure. Allah is not humiliating you. He's helping you see clearly. He's revealing the cracks in your heart, the soft spots you didn't even realize were still vulnerable. Not to shame you, but to save you. Not to break you, but to build you. Because this, right here, is the real battlefield. Not the obvious one outside, but the quiet, invisible one within. Between what your soul wants and what your nafs whispers. Between obedience and impulse. Between sincerity and self-deception. And this battle, it's not new. Even the prophets had moments of fear and temptation. Even the righteous felt the weight of desire. What makes them strong wasn't that they never struggled, it's that they chose Allah despite the struggle. You see, temptation isn't just a sign of weakness, it's also a sign of potential strength. Because if the enemy is fighting for your heart, it means your heart is worth winning. And every time you feel pulled towards something that you know isn't good for your soul, but you still stop yourself, even if just for a moment, even if your body is tense and your heart is screaming just once, that resistance, that is your victory. That is the moment your faith becomes real, not because it's perfect, but because it's fought for, because it's honest, because it costs you something. Allah sees that internal war, the quiet tug-of-war between who you are and who you want to be, and He rewards every second of that resistance, even if you fall afterward and come back again, because coming back is part of the fight. Don't ever think that just because you're tempted, you're sinful. Temptation is not sin. It's a sign you're alive. It's a sign your choices matter. And yes, sometimes you will fall. Sometimes the temptation will win. But even in that fall, Allah doesn't walk away. He's still there, watching, waiting, to see, will you get back up? Will you return to me? And every time you do, He welcomes you not with punishment, but with mercy. Because this is part of your training. This is how you grow into someone who can stand strong. Not because life is easy, but because you've learned how to rise in the middle of the storm. You're not failing. You're being shown exactly where to fortify your heart, where to install the guardrails, where to ask Allah for protection, because only He can help you win a battle you can't see. So the next time the temptation comes, and it will, don't panic. Don't let shame silence you. Don't let guilt convince you you're broken. Just pause, breathe, and remind yourself, this is a test, and I've been given the strength to pass it. You are not weak. You are in training. And the harder the temptation, the more powerful the reward for walking away. This is not just a struggle. It's a chance to prove to your Lord that He matters more than anything else. And in that moment, even if no one sees your victory, know that Allah does. And to Him, that hidden act of self-control, that unseen resistance, that quiet no whispered through trembling lips, is the loudest declaration of your faith. Sign 6. When you're misunderstood or left alone, you're doing your best. You're trying to stay sincere, to hold your values, to stay modest in a world that rewards boldness, to stay honest in a world that celebrates shortcuts, to live with integrity, even when no one claps for it. You're not pretending to be perfect. You know you're not, but your intentions are clean. Your efforts are real. Your heart is in the right place, even if you stumble sometimes. And yet, slowly, people begin to drift away. The calls stop. The invitations stop. You notice people looking at you differently, more distant, more cold, maybe even more critical. Friends you thought would be there forever start fading into the background. Family members don't get it. They question your choices. They laugh at your boundaries. They talk behind your back. Or worse, they act like you've changed too much to belong. And you're left standing there wondering, what did I do to deserve this? Why am I the one being left out when I'm just trying to do the right thing? The silence around you begins to grow heavier. Loneliness starts to ache in places you didn't even know existed. You feel unseen, misunderstood, left behind. But what if this isn't rejection? What if this silence, this isolation, this emotional distance is actually protection? Because sometimes when Allah sees that your heart is leaning too much on people, on their validation, their company, their approval, He gently starts to remove them, not to punish you, not to shame you, but to create sacred space so you can return fully to Him. Because no matter how good people are, they can't hold you like Allah can. They can't understand your soul the way He does. They can't see the late-night tears, the internal battles, the quiet efforts you keep hidden. But He does, and sometimes He needs you to feel that aloneness, so you finally see how near He truly is. You're not being isolated because you're unworthy. You're being invited into something deeper, a closeness that doesn't depend on who's sitting next to you, but on who created you. Because the truth is, not everyone can walk the path Allah is calling you to. Not everyone can come with you when your heart starts to change, when you start choosing prayer over popularity, modesty over trends, silence over gossip, purity over validation. You start to stand out, not in pride, but in peace. And that peace threatens people who don't understand it. It makes them uncomfortable, so they leave, or misunderstand you, or distance themselves from you. But let them, because if someone walks away while you're walking toward Allah, then their absence is not a loss. It's a sign that Allah is making room in your life for something better, a sign that He's redirecting your heart to depend on Him alone, a sign that He's taking you out of the noise so you can hear His voice. And yes, it hurts. It hurts to feel like the only one trying, to feel like no one really sees you, to feel like the deeper your sincerity gets, the more alone you become. But maybe that loneliness is exactly where the real transformation begins. Because some of the strongest hearts are not built in crowds. They are built in seclusion, in moments where no one is clapping, no one is watching, no one is cheering you on, except Allah. And when that happens, when your strength starts to come from Him and Him alone, you become unshakable. You stop living for people who leave. You stop shrinking for people who never saw your value. You stop apologizing for your sincerity. You grow quietly, powerfully, faithfully. So if you're feeling left out, forgotten, unseen, don't let that lie sink into your soul, because the one who matters most has never taken His eyes off you. You're not abandoned. You're being recentered, rebuilt, realigned with your purpose. And when the time is right, when your heart is fully anchored in Him, He will send people into your life who don't just tolerate your light, but protect it. Until then, hold on to your values, hold on to your sincerity, hold on to Allah, because what's on the other side of this loneliness is a connection so deep, so real, and so healing that you'll one day look back and thank Him for the silence. Faith isn't proven by how easy life feels. It's proven by how you respond when it's hard. Faith isn't proven when life is simple. It's not proven when your doers are answered quickly. when the people you love stay, when the plans you made fall perfectly into place. It's easy to feel grateful when the road is smooth. It's easy to say Alhamdulillah when your heart feels full. But the real test of faith shows up in the quiet moments of uncertainty, when everything you thought you understood falls apart, when the things you were sure of suddenly feel shaky, when you're praying but your heart is heavy, when you're doing your best and still nothing changes. Faith shows up not in your comfort, but in your response to discomfort, when the tears won't stop, but you still raise your hands in dua, when the world misunderstands you, but you still choose kindness, when you feel unseen, but you still act with integrity because you know Allah sees. That's faith. It's not about perfection, it's about persistence. It's about choosing Allah again and again, even when your heart is tired, even when your mind is full of doubt. And if you're in that place right now, if your world feels heavy, if your soul feels quiet, if you're being tested in ways no one around you can see, understand this. You are not being punished. You are not being forgotten. You are not being left behind. You are being refined, because Allah only tests the ones He wants to bring closer. He only pushes those He wants to pull into greatness. He only allows discomfort when He's building something inside you that ease could never teach. He sees the version of you that exists on the other side of this pain, the wiser, calmer, stronger version, the one that will be more patient, more trusting, more aware of His presence. And sometimes to build that version of you, He has to first break what's holding you back. Your attachments, your illusions, your dependence on things that were never meant to last. So if you're asking, why is this happening to me? The answer may be this: because Allah loves you too much to leave you where you are, because there's more waiting for you, and He's preparing you to carry it, because the storm you're in right now isn't just chaos, it's construction, and no, it won't last forever. The tears will dry, the fog will lift, the doors will open, but what Allah is building within you through this, the patience, the clarity, the faith, that will stay. So don't let this hardship convince you you're weak. Don't let the silence convince you He's not near. Don't let the delay make you doubt His wisdom. You're not falling apart, you're being rebuilt. And when the dust settles, when the pain eases, when the answers finally arrive, you'll look back at this season and realize that was the moment your faith became real. That was the moment you didn't give up. That was the moment you grew into the version of yourself that Allah always knew you could become. So keep going, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, because you're not breaking, you're becoming. If this message touched something in your heart, don't keep it to yourself, because someone out there is carrying the same weight you are. Someone is sitting alone right now, wondering if they're the only one struggling to stay patient, to keep praying, to keep believing when it feels like everything is falling apart. You may never know their name, you may never hear their story, but your share, your comment, your dua could be the one thing that gives them the strength to hold on, to say, maybe I'm not alone after all. So if this message reminded you of Allah's mercy, if it gave you even a few seconds of peace in the middle of your storm, let that peace ripple outward. Drop a prayer in the comments, not just for yourself, but for every unseen soul who's hurting in silence. Write something from the heart, even a simple, "May Allah make it easy for whoever reads this." You never know who's reading. You never know who's crying while scrolling. Like this video if it made you feel something real, even if it was just a moment of stillness. Because that moment matters. That moment could be the start of a new chapter. Sometimes all we need is a pause, a breath, a reminder that Allah sees what no one else does. And share it, not because it's viral or trending, but because it's real. because someone on your feed might be praying for a sign, and this might be it. Someone might be on the edge of giving up, and your share might catch them before they fall. This is more than just a video. This is a bridge between hearts, between pain and purpose, between hopelessness and healing. And remember this, always, if Allah is testing you, He is also protecting you. If He is delaying something, He is also perfecting something. And if He is quiet right now, it's because He is working in a way your eyes can't yet see. So hold on, not just for yourself, but for every soul who might need the strength you're finding right now. What you're going through may be the hardest chapter of your life, but it might also be the beginning of your greatest transformation. One that will not only change you, but guide someone else through their storm. And that is a legacy worth leaving.